Vlogmas. I'm back in my normal spot, catching the last of the daylight again, and I just want to jump straight into actually talking about today's project, which I flashed briefly yesterday as well. And it was a project that I was just finishing off. I was just weaving in the last ends, and it is the Kutar T or the Kutar t-shirt by Sari Nordlund, the Finnish designer Sari Nordlund. And this is my finished t-shirt. I started this in August, I think, when it was still summer, thinking that if I do it quickly I might be able to wear it a little bit. But you know how it goes, and I did most of it, and then it was left in a pile and then I just finished the last bits yesterday. It's knit in Knitting for Olive pure silk, which is a lovely divine yarn. It is 100% silk. It is soft, but it still has just a little bit of crunch, a little bit of texture to it. It's not as rough as some silks, and it's not, but it's still not completely smooth, so it's not difficult in that sense to knit with it. It's actually really nice, a really nice silk yarn to knit with. And I also really like this color. It is like a very soft peach, warm peachy color that goes with everything, more or less. It's very flattering on my skin, and I think on a lot of skin tones actually. So I'm really happy with my choice of yarn, and I think the model is the pattern is beautiful. Now, a few things that happened along the way with this one. It was a fairly quick knit the first time around. I knit it's knit from the top. I knit the yoke. Everything was fine. I tried it on as I went, of course. I knit the body. I knit the sleeves, and then I blocked it. And then I tried it on, and then I felt that it was the armpits were too low. You know, I ended up with this sort of pouch, and just right here at the arm, or at the armpit, that was just, a few tiny centimeters too much. But I can't stand it when there is like just too much space there. Obviously, I don't want the sleeve to cut into my armpits. That's not what I mean. But I want it to sit just right, and I because of the blocking, it probably sort of relaxed that much in the blocking that I ended up with this pouch feeling here, and no, I didn't like that. So that was the problem was that I had I had knitted too long after the yoke, so before dividing for the sleeves. So what I did was, of course, that I ripped the whole thing up all the way to the yoke, and I redistributed the stitches a little bit, I think, and then I raised the armpit, if you like, and reknit it. And so that's what kind of took a bit longer before finishing it in the end. And then, of course, there's always the weaving in of ends, which takes a bit of time to get to, and so on. And that's what I did yesterday. And as I showed in the video, or in the little snippet, I might add it here as well, there were some holes. Even though you try real hard to avoid those holes under the arms, it's really, sometimes you're lucky and sometimes you're not. But what I did was I kind of closed those holes, so now it's okay underneath the arm. And one tip that I could say when it comes to both weaving in ends and doing things like closing holes or whatever needs to be done with yarn that is fairly, I wouldn't say it's thick. I guess this is sport weight or maybe DK. No, I think it's sport weight yarn. But it's a fairly sort of loose weave, and so there is a risk of yarn, if you have a lot of sort of yarn threading at the back, that it actually shows through to the front. So what I did was when I had this little snippet of thread here that I needed to close the holes with, that I divided the thread or the yarn into its plies. I think this one had 3 plies. So what I did, I took 2 plies in one direction and 1 ply in the other direction for closing the holes and for weaving in and just finishing it off. And that makes it guaranteed invisible. So, and also if in general, if you need to weave in thicker yarns and there is a risk of the yarn actually, of the weaving in actually being visible or being too bulky, then if it's possible to divide the yarn or the plies of the yarn to thread them in different directions, then that's a way of making it disappear better into the fabric. Okay, that's my project for today. Not sure what I'm up to in other plans for today. One thing that's been happening this weekend online is the Kässamessut netissä. That is an online crafts show or fair, which started during the pandemic but has become a bit of a tradition now, it seems. So it's held, I think, at least 3 times a year, and now it's the Christmas version this time. And what they do is there are lots of crafts companies all over Finland who participate, and they can do their own online content, and some of it is featured on the sort of show's own channels, but you can also do it on your own channels, and it just gives small companies and lots of visibility without having to pay for being at a physical fair, which I think is actually a really good idea. And what I really appreciate about it is that it lets you behind the scenes in many places where you would never be able to go, even if you were attending a physical show. Because on a physical show, you are restrained by what you can show in your spot and in those premises. But when you're doing it online, somebody can actually just bring the camera and you can see your facilities, or you can show them all that you have to offer, or you can do little workshops with the materials that you're selling or whatever, which I think is fabulous. So I think it's actually a really successful concept. I haven't been able to follow. I mean, there are live broadcasts about every hour during the whole weekend. I haven't been able to watch that many of them, but I'm thinking that I might watch some of them back today. While working on my next project, which I'm not sure what it is just yet. We'll see. So I might catch you later. If not, have a good one. See you tomorrow.